When I was a teenager, my dad bought me a classic 1972 Ford Bronco. It was my true passion, and I don't recall a memory from high school that somehow doesn't involve that truck. Plus my dad and I would spend hours and hours working on it together, and we went through that especially father and son rough patch when I was teenager. It was always that Bronco that brought us back together. I made a huge mistake and sold the truck when I turned 19, and my dad died of a heart attack 2 months later, so while not logical, I've always felt a karmic connection between the two events. We had a baby in early February. She is our first and the light of my life. My wife is doing well, but she's back at work and she's realized that she hates all the daycares we've tried and really wants to be a stay-at-home mom, and plus she's still very hormonal from delivery, lack of sleep and breastfeeding, so she's having a rough time and is angry a lot. I guess I need to say this. 2 weeks ago I was driving through our town's warehouse district and saw a Bronco that was pretty beat up but resembled mine. I stopped just for nostalgia's sake, and the owner came out and let me take a look inside. My dad and I had glued a wee penny under the dash as sort of security measure, so I just sort of checked, and goddamned if it wasn't my Bronco. I asked him if he'd ever consider selling it. He said actually someone was on I-25 as we spoke from Colorado to buy it for $21,000. I freaked out and asked him if I could buy it right then and there for $23,000. He said if I could come up with the cash, yes. I had been procrastinating setting up a 529, so I had $12,000 in savings that my wife's parents had given us. I maxed out my credit card to Venmo, and my mom bought down a check for $4,000, and I drove away in my old car. It was like a dream come true. Like a literal dream come true. It needs a lot of work I can't afford right now, but it's mine. Like in my driveway, mine. Again. I can't even describe what a joy this is. My wife and her parents are furious with me. They feel I was deceptive, that a real man would have sacrificed anything and everything so my wife could go stay at home with his kids, and that setting aside, that they gave us the money for a college fund. My point is my daughter is only 6 months old, we have 18 years to set up a college fund of her. But this Bronco means everything to me, and if I wouldn't have acted it would have been gone forever. Now it can be that same connection between me and my kids. To me it's the literal meaning of happiness. Am I the idiot? Wow, I have an almost 7-month-old, and your post literally ruined my day. You're the idiot for this line alone. She's still very hormonal from delivery, lack of sleep, and breastfeeding, so she's having a rough time and is angry a lot. Really? She's not angry because her husband is the type of person who blew a college fund on a junked out car. Wow, this one really affected me. I'm going to leave this and try not to check back in because I'm heartbroken for your wife and daughter. Your in-laws gave you guys $12K so y'all could get a head start in life as a family, and you blew the lot on top of an additional $7K in credit card debt, all without a single word to your wife and the mother of the light of my life. You're the idiot. You're the idiot. You spent $23K on a beat-up car with a 1-month-old baby. What the hell is the matter with you for spending that amount on that car under almost any circumstances, let alone the actual ones you're living? Hell, you could get a very nice brand new car for that amount of money. I would have divorced you before you finished telling me this story. You're the idiot, so much the idiot here, and if I were your wife you'd be out so fast your head would spin. You basically stole $12,000 from your child and spent it on yourself, and to make it worse, you took an additional $10,000 in extra debt. So now you have a junk vehicle and no college fund. Out of curiosity, how much is it going to cost to fix up this Bronco? I, 17, have a college fund started by my grandparents, maternal and paternal, with some of the money coming from my parents. The fund was originally for me and my sister, but my mom and sister died 4 years ago, and my grandparents, who hold the account, chose to leave it all for me and continued paying into it. My dad remarried 18 months after my mom and sister died, and he has a stepdaughter who is the same age as my sister would be if she were alive. She's a high school senior now, and talk has turned to her going to college. Her mom was single until she married my dad and never had the opportunity to start a fund before. They have something saved, but it's not enough and won't be. So, my dad asked me to share mine with her. He said it was always intended to be for 2 people, and my sister would want her money to be used by someone in the family. I told him it was being used by someone in the family, me, her sister, and he replied that stepsister is our sister too. I told him no. I only have one sister. This is how I feel. I know people will give me shit for that, but I only have one sibling, and that's how it will always be. That's not personal against my stepsister, but we're not sisters, or even family beyond her mom being married to my dad. My dad said he was telling me I need to share the money. I told him no. He went to my grandparents, his parents, and they said it was for me since my sister could no longer use it. He went to my maternal grandparents then, because they were the two who originally set up the account, and they told him they have no obligation to fund my stepsister going to college because she isn't their granddaughter. He's back to trying to force me to say yes. His wife and her daughter are also telling me it's the right thing to do and it's what we do for family, and my sister would want me to, which pisses me off because they never met my sister, let alone know what she would want. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I would tell your grandparents what is happening and get them to put a stop to it. Your dad and stepmother are trying to manipulate you into feeling guilty, and now they've roped your stepsister into it too. Do not give in please, but it is downright awful that they're forcing you to choose. In point of fact, your father was already an idiot for zombifying your sister's memory to puppet words into her mouth, but he made himself a bigger idiot when upon failing to acquire your agreement he shopped around to family hoping to pressure you into it. He, your stepmother, and stepsister have since repeatedly reaffirmed that they're the idiots here, especially because neither your stepsister nor your stepmother had ever even met them. It's trashy to guilt people through the memory of a lost loved one. Everyone sucks here. OP, your dad is kind of an idiot because it's not fair of him to use the memory of your sister to manipulate you into sharing your college fund with your stepsister, but the way that the other responses in here are making him out to be the devil for trying to get you to share are not fair to him. If this is all it is, this alone does not make him a bad person the way most of these circle jerk responses to your post might make you want to think. Based on the evidence presented, he is not trying to forget about your mom or your sister, but he may be trying to fill that grief-dug hole, and you shouldn't be listening to all of these other posters who try to make you believe that makes him an idiot. You lost a mother and a sister, but he lost a wife and a daughter, and it's not fair to just overlook that. Not the idiot. Let your grandparents keep control of it so dad can't get access. If he wants her college funded so badly he can do it. And I get it. She's not automatically a sister because your dad married someone. For them to try to force the bond and bring your sister up is mean. My wife and I have been married for 12 years, and the nephew in question is my brother's oldest son, who I'll call Michael for this post. Michael is 16 and the oldest of my brother's two boys. Michael was a baby when my wife and I got together, and she has always treated him and my brother's other son like family, just the same as she treats her own siblings' kids. My wife has a significant inheritance, and we both earn generous wages, and it was her idea to open college savings accounts for Michael and his brother when they were babies. This is likely to be the only family money for college they'll receive. Anyway, the story. Last weekend, my brother and the boys came over for dinner, and we all had a nice time, though the youngest one was on his Switch the whole time, and Michael was on his phone. I didn't think anything of it until the following Tuesday, when I found my wife sobbing after work, and she showed me an Instagram post made by Michael, who apparently is too stupid to realize we both follow him, as do his grandparents. He posted a picture of my wife from behind and a picture he apparently took of her underwear laid out on our bed, both mocking her size, she is overweight, and calling her a big idiot among other things. My wife was devastated and humiliated and hurt because she's always had a good relationship with him. I'm furious and want to cancel his college savings account right now, taxes be damned. My wife says she'd be too embarrassed to do this since she's an adult and shouldn't be so hurt by a child and just wants to pretend it didn't happen. I already told his dad and let his dad deal with it at home, but I'm still furious and want to cancel the account Monday. Would I be the idiot if I did this? Is it too much? He won't have any family money for school if I do, but that isn't my problem if he comes into my home and violates my wife's privacy and disrespects her like that. Not the idiot. I was prepared to say, you are the idiot, based on the title because I thought rude would constitute backtalking or something normal for a 16 years old. This, on the other hand, was a completely disgusting act that is not normal or appropriate behavior. Just because he is a kid does not excuse this behavior because he is plenty old enough to understand this was not okay to do. Your wife has every reason in the world to be upset. It was an invasion of her privacy to post her undergarments on his social media page and utterly disrespectful to say those things about her. I wouldn't even call this immature because this would not be acceptable behavior from any age or maturity level. It was downright cruel and it shows a blatant lack of care or respect for your wife, and you should certainly not be sending a lump sum of money to someone who would do such a disgusting thing to your family. Not the idiot for being extremely angry. But before going nuclear, why not confront him directly? Ask him WTF he thought he was doing and what the hell his problem is. Ask him why you should want anything more to do with him. Does he know about the college fund? If so, ask him why that should still be on the table for him. He needs to hear it from you, as the pissed off uncle. Yes, teenage boys can be absolute idiots and need to be held accountable. But they tend to become decent people with firm guidance. Not the idiot. Take his college fund away and then when he grows up, if he proves to become a good guy, then give it to him as a gift to pay off his own school loans. Sometimes these idiots grow up to be awesome adults, so be patient and wait it out. If he continues on this path, never give him the money. Please tell your wife that her feelings are valid. This was deliberate cruelty by someone old enough to know exactly what they were doing. It was thought out and done in stages. She's allowed to be hurt by the cruelty. She's allowed to be horrified by the violation of privacy. So are you. What else was he digging through? Can you trust him in your home again? She's allowed to be angry at the flagrant disrespect. I, 36, bought a rural property in 2016. This property has a very large yard and a long driveway. I also travel a fair bit for work. I was looking for a service to handle shoveling my driveway in the winter and handle mowing my lawn in the spring, summer, and fall. Mostly because I'm gone a lot, but also because I just don't want to deal with it. I was talking to my neighbor R, who said his son A, 14, was a hard worker and wanted to make some extra cash as he was saving for college. So A and I came to an agreement. Every weekend he would mow my front and back lawn and I would pay him $40. In the winter, whenever it snowed, he would come by and plow my driveway. Firm $40 a week whether or not it snowed. He would just drive on over with his tractor and handle it. It worked very well for 4 years. This kid was a godsend. I foster dogs and if I have to go out of town unexpectedly, he would come over and feed them and play with them and love on them and just have a grand old time. And he would be compensated accordingly for the extra work. All in all, I probably paid him $3,000–4,000 a year for the work. I made good friends with his folks. I get invited to all the family parties. His older sister had a baby and I went to the shower. So, it is obvious I have a soft spot for this kid. Knowing that he was working so hard to try to afford to go to school, every time I paid him I would also set aside the same amount and I put it into an envelope. I was invited to a socially distant graduation party earlier this month. He graduated from high school and he is going away to a state school about 2 hours from us next month. I took that envelope full of cash to the bank and I got a check which totaled out a little more than $12,000. I included this check in the card I got him for graduation and I thanked him very much for helping me all these years and wished him well as he moved on with his life. He was extremely thankful because his mom has been laid off and they were worried about how they were going to pay for school and they were trying not to let him go into debt. Now, the issue. I was worried that his parents would think of this as charity because his mom had been laid off. This plan had been years in the making and I hadn't mentioned it to them because I didn't want them to count on it if for whatever reason I wasn't in the financial position to offer it when the time came. R called me extremely upset that I hadn't told them about the fund prior for 2 reasons. 1. It overshadowed their gift to him and 2. They had spent so long worrying about how they were going to pay this and if they had known about what I was doing, it would have saved them a lot of stress and problems. Am I the idiot? No idiots here, but hurt feelings. I can see how the family is upset, but this is effectively what they wanted. I don't think you're an idiot for helping him, that's really generous. Maybe a better way would have been to talk to the parents and find a way to help them save face and still give you some credit for helping him go to school. You're the idiot, not for the gift, but how you gave it. Being generous with others doesn't exempt you from criticism or give you license to cross boundaries. The fact that you refuse to see the downside of what you did, from the parent's point of view, makes me think you are being pretty obstinate in viewing yourself as purely good here when you admit that you knew they might look at this as charity and be embarrassed. If you knew that, why didn't you talk to them about it ahead of time and figure out a way together to get the kid the money in a way they'd feel comfortable with? These are supposed to be friends of yours, and friends should discuss major things like this. No idiots here, both points are valid enough. I do think you should have let them know though. Not years or months ago, but like the day before, and discussed with them the best way to present the check. Something like in private after the party with everyone on the same page. You are the idiot, 100%. You do not do this without discussing it with the parents first. And anyone saying they're shitty for saying your gift overshadowed theirs must not have family or friends. This is a marking point of his life, and they as his parents want to be the main part of that. They want him to feel good. Sure, you're nice, but your timing is way the hell off, and not telling them is incredibly rude.